Welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm your host, Pete Mezzetti. My guest this evening is Kevin Wilhelm, who is the president and CEO of Middlesex United Way. Kevin, welcome. How are you, my friend?
Hello, Pete. Good to be back.
Hey, buddy.
Nice
Good to see you. Good to see you. It's been a while.
A couple years?
It's been a couple of years. And from what I understand, and we'll talk about this through the course of the half hour, you're retiring.
I am on December 31st.
After how many years?
30 years. I started on May 1st, 1991
Wow.
as the development director, primarily raising funds, and then there was a retirement of the CEO in 1996, and the board hired me, and it's been great.
Yeah, you like it?
Yeah.
So
I still love it.
There you go. There you go. So tell us a little bit about the United Way for people that don't know what you guys are and exactly what you guys do.
So we are organized to provide financial resources, funding, and volunteer resources to local Middlesex County-based nonprofits in a number of areas: education, basic needs, housing, health and wellness, and we just added a new focus of racial equity and inclusion just this year.
Really?
Yeah. So we provide resources to local nonprofits.
Nice. How many? And how many?
38.
38 nonprofits.
38 nonprofits, yeah.
In the
specific, yeah.
There you go.
Direct funding.
Okay, I was going to say.
We support a lot of other nonprofits, without funding. Funding is an important resource, but there are other resources too.
Right.
Any nonprofit can use our website and use any other resources we have to promote volunteer opportunities they have. You don't have to be affiliated with us.
Right.
You could be a library or a 4-H or or a cultural institution, and we're happy to help you recruit volunteers for whatever you need. That's a big part of what we do as well.
Very nice.
Yeah.
How did you guys? How have you guys been doing since the pandemic started, and from where you are then to where you are now?
It's been tough for everybody.
Absolutely.
For most, if you're a nonprofit or a for-profit, everyone had new challenges they had to kind of step up and meet, right? So certainly on the revenue side, it definitely was a challenge, but there's always opportunity, right? So we did things we've never done before. We actually we had to stand up a complete virtual digital way to give to United Way in addition to in-person or like check or cash, and so that's actually going to serve us well in the future. It is the way of the world, so it kind of forced us into doing it faster. This is our second year of that, and we're improving that and getting better, and that just gives people an opportunity who might not have discovered us, to sort of a platform for them to find out who we are by just being much just communicating more in an electronic and digital virtual world kind of thing.
Absolutely.
But the most interesting thing we did was, for the first time ever, is that we created a special fund. All United Ways in Connecticut, there are 15 locally based United Ways, all independent. The money that's raised in a local United Way stays there and goes to local nonprofits in the region that the United Way serves. But we actually, for the first time, gave direct cash assistance to people in need because the need was so great among individuals. Right. So we provided over $60,000 in Middlesex County to a bunch of families to help keep them, try to help keep them afloat. Right. But we also we coordinated a lot of food distributions. We had about 10 times we provided food boxes of food, significant boxes of food, over 60,000 pounds. In about an 8-month period, we provided over 50,000 masks to the community, and we created some virtual volunteer opportunities for people who wanted to serve and help other people. Pete, a lot of people that were doing okay. Not everybody was affected the same, right? So people that were doing okay, like, what can I do to help? So they could give out food. They could give food. They could give out food. They could do some virtual volunteer opportunities. We had people writing thank you notes to people in nursing homes, both the staff and the residents. Because if you remember back a year ago, the residents were really isolated. People couldn't visit them.
Absolutely.
The staff were working really extra hard. In a really tough environment. So things like that. And so those are some of there were opportunities for us to serve the community in new and different ways. And I think we stepped up. It's not something that I would have wanted to happen. It certainly wasn't, it certainly wasn't healthy or good for the community, but our job is to respond to need as we see it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I understand that you guys are actually very instrumental with the Liberty Bank turkey, the turkey drive, shall we call it?
Yeah, so the American Red Cross, based in Middletown,
Yeah.
they pretty much consolidated from a bunch of local Red Crosses to one in the state.
Mm-hmm.
And when they did that, they're in Farmington now.
Yep.
So they had a Middletown location that served the entire county, all 15 towns, just like we do. We serve all 15 towns in the county. It left the community without a program that at the time was feeding about 350 families at Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And so people from the community that were familiar with this project came to us and Liberty Bank and said, can you help figure out how to do this project?
Right.
And so I think we're coming on our 9th or 10th year. And so now instead of serving about 400 families or less, we now serve over 1,000. We give them much more significant food.
Right.
And at the time, the church, Fellowship Church, which is on Saybrook Road in Middletown, was just sort of where people picked up the food, right? So now, the church is not just involved as a distribution point. There's a person on staff at the church who helps coordinate. This has become a big project.
Right.
20 or 30 groups are involved.
Oh my goodness.
Including the bank.
Yeah.
And it's just, in fact, it's one of the things, Pete, it's unusual. The project is so popular, people just love being involved, that we tend to collect extra food that goes to pantries.
Right.
And then we also have so many volunteers that we make the shifts really small so that we can accommodate as many volunteers as want to be actively engaged in this project.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we give out the food on the Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
There you go.
We pack all the food the day before and give it out on Tuesday. Hundreds of volunteers are involved.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was actually in Liberty Bank recently, and I saw they're selling paper turkeys.
Yes, the paper turkeys.
Nice.
Well, and I have a third connection. So
you do?
So
Who?
you were talking about Sue Murphy, our good friend who just left the Liberty Bank
Absolutely.
Foundation. So and who really helped scale up this project beyond Middletown right now.
Absolutely.
It's pretty much statewide. So I was part of Middletown Rotary, and Rotary would deliver about 100 baskets each year to homebound and shut-ins.
Okay.
So I have 3 connections to this project.
There you go.
Yeah. My church, my work at United Way, and Rotary.
There you go. Are you still a member of the Rotary?
I am not, as I am transitioning out and retiring.
Right.
I'm no longer a member.
Now, out of all the years that you have been executive director, do you have a favorite memory that sticks out of the back of your mind?
Why I'm not prepared for that question.
Okay.
No. I'll tell you, because here's
what?
I'm tough with like your favorite this, your one this. I'll tell you the thing that really matters the most, and the thing I will miss the most. I'll answer it this way: is that it's just people are so amazing. The people that get involved with us or who work for Middlesex United Way. There are only 7 of us that work there, but we have hundreds of volunteers.
Absolutely.
They just are positive. They're caring. So I have so many memories about just working with great people, and so many projects over the years that are just have really had impact. So, if I think about something and one thing that really stands out during the next 20 minutes or so, I'll shout it out to you.
All right. Hey, speaking of shout outs and all the wonderful people that are involved with the United Way, we got to shout out to Manny.
Manny is our development director.
We had a shout out to our buddy Manny.
DJ Manny.
That's right.
DJ's on the side. He's doing great. Manny Martinez. He's been with us for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Super fun, great person of integrity.
Oh, absolutely.
Very creative. People love him. He loves people.
I think last time I had you guys on with the organization, he came down.
He did. Yeah.
That was a fun show.
Yeah.
It was a good show.
Was that during the pandemic? Was he?
No, I think it was right before.
It's still before. Okay,
I think
so it's really been a couple of years since.
Yeah, I think it was right before the pandemic. So, what types of services do you guys actually? Let's get into the service aspect of things. What types of services do you guys actually offer, and what do you guys exactly do to help the community?
Well, so I mean, we're involved with both the Shoreline soup kitchen down here in the Shoreline where we are, and Amazing Grace. So there's a lot of basic needs kinds of stuff. There's a lot of stuff with housing. We actually, so we provide, work with other organizations to provide housing to people in need. The Hope Project down here in Old Saybrook.
Yeah.
There's just a brand new housing, like I think 40 units of housing in is it Ivoryton? That was just built. And we're involved with them. Right on the corner. I forget, it was an old factory.
Yep.
Yeah, and so there were like 400 applicants for like 40 apartments. So the need for housing is so significant. We involved with Habitat for Humanity.
Oh, sure.
So we actually work with all of the school systems throughout the county to try to make sure kids enter school ready to learn. So, and all the youth and family services that you're familiar with, working with middle school and high school kids on like substance abuse prevention programs. So there's just a lot. And our newest is racial equity and inclusion. In fact, can I tease something that's like hot news, brand new?
Yeah. Go.
Just released recently. Is that
was it released today?
It wasn't released today, but it's the first time I think certainly the first time on TV.
There you go.
It's the first time on TV, publicly announced, is that we actually have a new mini grant process that we're doing, about $19,000 that we want to give out to local Middlesex County-based organizations to help reduce barriers for people of color. So we want nonprofits who are serving people of color and to apply for grants in this is pretty much the similar areas that United Way funds, and that's education, basic needs, health and wellness, housing. But one of the things that we want to particularly fund is there's a digital divide, right? So low-income houses and low-income households, people of color households have less access to technology. They have fewer devices, and we want to try to bridge that gap. So there's a technology component, so organizations that are serving people with technology can also apply. The applications, it was just released recently. You can go to our website and apply to learn more.
All right.
We'll give that out probably later if you want.
Well, we can give it out now, but we'll give it out
multiple times. So it's simple. It's as always, www.middlesexunitedway.org. Okay. So it's Middlesex United Way, one word, .org.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so so that's something that's exciting. It's the first time we've tried to raise money specifically for racial equity and inclusion, and we're going to turn it around into pretty quickly, actually, into grants. The applications are due in November, and we'll make decisions in December and get the money out by December 31st.
There you go.
Yeah.
And how did the idea of the grants project come about?
So we have a brand new volunteer team that all of our focus areas have teams of volunteers that help review requests for proposal and help figure out and recommend to the board of directors what we're going to fund. So there's an education team, there's a basic needs team, right? There's a health team, there's a housing team, and now there's a new team of volunteers with racial equity inclusion. In fact, we've actually committed almost $100,000 over the next year to racial equity inclusion. So this team is helping direct what we should be funding. So anyway.
Kevin, would you mind sticking around for another segment?
I certainly can.
All right, we'll be right back.
It takes less than 1 minute to find out if you may have prediabetes. You can do it here. But you probably won't. You're busy. Kids, work, show coming back in 48 seconds. So let's do this now. Hold up one finger if you're a man, women, 0. 3 more fingers if you're over 60, 2 over 50, 1 over 40. If you're not sure, keep in mind you're sitting on a couch right now, so 1 more finger if you're not very active. 1 finger if yes, 0 if no. 1 yes, 0 no. Next, find the body type that looks most like you and hold up that many fingers while I look around awkwardly. And that's it. If you're holding up 5 fingers or more, you probably have prediabetes. Sorry to be so blunt, but hey, you're busy. Just go to the site.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti, sitting here with Kevin Wilhelm, who's the Executive Director of Middlesex United Way. Kevin, welcome back.
Good to be back.
Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for sticking around. So we have an event coming up, I believe.
We do?
United Way does.
We do. Are you? So we have a couple things happening, right?
Well, what's going on?
Well, actually, there's two events. One of them is with our Young Leaders Society. One of the things that I helped spearhead the creation of is something at United Way called Young Leaders Society. We wanted to get people under 40 more connected to the work of United Way, get them involved as volunteers, give them leadership opportunities. And so they're having their first in-person events since the pandemic. They've had some virtual events, but next Thursday, November 11th, there's a speakeasy with leaders at the Witch Doctor Brewing Company in Southington. And so, I have to say, some of the events of the Young Leaders definitely have involved going to breweries and connecting people. And we always do something with a purpose. Even the networking we do has a cause. You might have to bring a can of food or a gift for Christmas.
Right.
But in this case, we're going to actually work with a professional to help people be more comfortable with public speaking, so it's called Speak Easy with Leaders. So you're going to learn how to public speak. You're kind of at a speakeasy with the brewery, so it all kind of ties in together. So that's next Thursday, the 11th, and you can sign up either on the Middlesex United Way Facebook page, or again by going to the website www.middlesexunitedway.org. So that's kind of fun to get back to doing some in-person events. We really haven't done in-person events, but on December 7th at 5:30 at the Wadsworth Mansion in Middletown will be my retirement celebration. So that's another in-person event, and people are more than welcome to also come and hang out for the evening. And
I might have to come hang out. I might have to come hang out.
Yeah, so it's something that I'm actually not part of the planning. Manny is the key person who's actually doing the planning.
So this could turn into a roast.
I think there are some surprises for me, which is just fine. So it'll be. So I was involved in making sure that the date worked.
Right.
And they asked me what my favorite cocktail was. So
which is what is?
Well, okay. I should say they. I think there's Mexican food, so I basically chose tequila. My favorite cocktail is really Manhattan, but since we're having Mexican food, there's going to be some tequila based.
Oh, absolutely,
drink, margarita or something. Yeah. So anyway,
Manny's in charge.
Yeah, that's right. So I think he's even DJing.
Anything? Oh, is he?
I think so.
Oh, yeah, excellent.
He DJs pretty much all of our stuff.
Excellent.
But no, it'll be fun. My dad and my brother do not live in the States, so my dad's coming up from Pennsylvania.
Oh, nice.
My brother and his wife are coming up from Virginia.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And the other thing is not really related to United Way, but this will be fun. Yeah. So I have a twin brother. Okay. And we are turning 60 on December 9th. So December 7th is the event. And my family will be all together. We'll celebrate our 60th birthday together. So it'll be kind of like an old family, it'd be like a family reunion. It'll be fun.
Good. Good.
The birthday is not open to the public.
No.
So that'll be private.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There will probably, there'll be some bourbon at the birthday party.
All right, there you go. There you go. So what else we want to talk about with the organization over the last 30 years?
Yeah, we've just done so many interesting things. When I was hired, I succeeded a long-term CEO, Patty Vassio is her name, and when she retired in 1996, and the board hired me, and it's been kind of fun to be part of the evolution of Middlesex United Way, not to have it be a static organization, but to change with the times and really reflect the needs. The one thing that has been the same is that the values are the same. Yeah. So the values are core and central, like who we are as an organization. I think it's really important in terms of integrity and transparency and diversity, those kinds of things. But we have done some really interesting things. Some people may know of Amazing Grace in Middletown. That's the soup kitchen and the food pantry up there. We actually, over 2 decades ago, we being United Way, we brought together a bunch of organizations that were serving food in a very limited way, the Red Cross, the Salvation Army, and St. Vincent de Paul, And we created Amazing Grace with them. Instead of providing individual grants to each of them to serve people in a limited way, we met with them over a year and created this vision to open up Amazing Grace where it can serve people in a more comprehensive way, in a more significant way, and to serve more people. So now Amazing Grace is serving like 1,000 families a month.
Oh, wow.
So in the same thing, you and I were talking in the pre-taping about the Coalition of Housing and Homelessness.
Yeah.
So that is something that we helped us, we're the founding partner for that in 2008. And we actually continue to be the fiduciary. That means that the coalition is not its own 501c3. It doesn't have a tax-exempt status. Right. So they have to use a partner like us who has a 501c3, and we're the fiscal agent. The monies come to us and then are distributed based upon what the Coalition Housing Homes says.
Gotcha.
I've been on the steering committee, been a co-chair, so we're very active involved in that. And so things like that. We created the new Young Leaders Society we talked about over a decade ago. We did the same thing with Women's Initiative. We wanted to try to attract and become sort of more interesting and more appealing to both women and young people under 40. So both of those groups continue to serve the community in unique ways and provide leadership opportunities, volunteer opportunities. In the case of the Women's Initiative, they also raise money separately from United Way and give out small grants. So those things are pretty cool. We've added the housing focus area, and I already talked about adding the racial equity and inclusion focus area. So the thing about housing, what's so interesting, Pete, is that way back in like 15 years ago, we did a bunch of focus groups and talked to a bunch of people in surveys. What should United Way really be focused on? Are we doing the right things? And housing, we added housing at that time. That was a high need. And so the last strategic plan we did, even though housing is a really new effort for us, because we're almost 90 years old at Middlesex United Way, the number one thing people associated positively about when they were surveyed about Middlesex United Way as part of the strategic plan, housing. Right. So the work we've done has really had an impact, and in fact, we've really, with the coalition, we've really reduced homelessness significantly among individuals and among veterans. So there's a lot of good work there. So adding those two focus areas has been important. We were the leaders in creating something called Middletown Works, which is an initiative to reduce the poverty rate among single-parent families. Middletown, Middletown's a great community. There are a lot of successes, but they have a much higher rate of poverty among single-parent families and a much greater percentage of families who are single parents in Middletown. So we're working on that, and we're 4 years into that, and I also am a leader in that. So there's all kinds of things that we've had, just blessed to be involved with. And you've got to meet the needs of the current times, right?
Absolutely. And before we forget, we talked about nonprofits that Middlesex United Way is involved with, and shout outs. And if we don't do this shout out, we're both going to be in trouble.
Uh-oh.
Cynthia.
Oh, well, yeah.
I was going to say, we forgot our friends at Middlesex.
No. Well, there are. Middlesex County is a great community in so many ways. There aren't a lot of. It's not a huge county, right?
No.
It's not a lot of people. A lot of great people, but not just not a huge population. But there are 3 organizations that work closely together to really serve other nonprofits: the Middlesex County Community Foundation, the Liberty Bank Foundation, and Middlesex United Way.
There you go.
So we each have our own sort of separate areas of focus, but we also have some areas in common, and we come together all the time.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
Cynthia
we work
Clegg
together.
is a wonderful person.
She is a wonderful person.
She is. I've had Cynthia and Claire Talbot on with me before.
Yes.
And they're just both wonderful people. We've got a little bit more time left, so what else do we want to get the word out with what's going on?
I will say that we still have masks left for anyone who needs masks.
Okay.
So, and the thing is that I'll tell you what's a challenge for pretty much every nonprofit. And so let's spend some time talking about the continued need for volunteers. When the pandemic hit so hard, people didn't feel safe. Most volunteering was done in person,
right?
Whether it's just something like a committee of your nonprofit or just even serving food through a soup line or something.
Right.
So now that the numbers are much better and COVID is significantly kind of on the decline, all organizations need more volunteers to come back and to serve either virtually or in person. And so we're trying to rebuild all of our volunteer corps, and we're trying to, create. We're not ready to launch it yet, but by the end of the month, we're going to have a refreshed volunteer opportunity section where people can, as individuals or groups, can go to and find volunteer opportunities that match their interests.
Yep.
And we need people to think about if they're comfortable to come back and volunteer, whether it's with us or with any nonprofit in the region. We can, if someone called our office, 860-346-8695,
Yep.
and talk to Maria, who answers the phone, Maria, she's the amazing Maria. She can help coach people, walk them through different volunteer opportunities to get involved with, again, either by themselves or with their family or with a group. So we really need people to come back and volunteer. All nonprofits need that.
I've never talked to the amazing Maria. I might have to call. I might have to call the office one day and say hello.
We have a really great team at United Way. Maria's one of them.
Okay.
Maria and Mandy.
There you go. And if people want more information on the United Way website one more time and phone number one more time, where are they going?
Sure. It's middlesexunitedway.org, 860-346-8695. Okay. And in fact, right on the front page, if someone was interested in being the next CEO for Middlesex United Way, you can get all the information right there, and you can even apply. So I certainly want the United Way to have a successful new CEO and a successor, and wish that person all the best. But you can find out all the details from our website.
You got it. Kevin Wilhelm, thanks for some time, and we'll see you again soon.
Take care.
You got it. Take care.
Thanks.
On behalf of Kevin Wilhelm, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks. Good night, and we'll see you next time.